You guys, okay, we need to chat because I've been seeing a lot of information, okay, a lot of conversations online about being a full-time gig worker in lieu of having a 9 to 5. And I went live the other day and I just had to. Like, this was not a planned live. I did not intend on discussing this topic, but I've literally been seeing so much content around this that I had to just pull my car over, okay? Check that live. And I had to just tell y'all, don't you quit your 9 to 5 for a gig opportunity, okay? And so I wanted to like really drive this point home with a visual representation of what it looks like over time if you are to be a gig worker long term. Now, I also want to be very clear. In that live, I said, if you have a 9 to 5, do gig work with it because you're really winning. You've got your W-2 and you have your additional way to earn, okay? It gives you a bigger shovel to do things like get out of debt or save up or invest or whatever it is that you want to do, okay? It gives you additional income. By no means during that live did I ever say, don't do gig work, okay? I talk about gig work on this channel, so that wouldn't even make sense. What I said is, don't leave your 9 to 5 to solely do gig work, and don't land on gig work and stay there. Gig work is awesome, especially if you are in between your 9 to 5, okay? So if you end up, let's say, getting fired, gig work is excellent for helping you make ends meet while you look for a stable W-2 opportunity. So to make it crystal clear, I'm saying if you can and you need to do gig work and have your W-2, okay? If you are in between jobs, yes, do gig work to make ends meet, but don't stay on gig work and think that it's a substitute for a W-2 opportunity, because they absolutely are not the same. And I want to give you guys an example of what that looks like over time. Okay, so I never waste an opportunity to have a nice little visual representation. And I have our two examples here. We've got Sally and we have Suzy. Now, Sally and Suzy, right now, they are both working at McDonald's, okay? They currently work at McDonald's and they have the same pay. They work the same schedule, 40 hours per week, full time. They are both tired of their schedule and they want more money and flexibility. So they reach two different conclusions to go about that. Sally reaches the conclusion that she is going to do gig work because that's going to give her more flexibility. It's going to help her earn more money immediately. She gets to be her own boss and set her own schedule. And notice Sally was working from 6 to 2. Now she's working from 9 to 5 because that fits what she was trying to do. Suzy, on the other hand, she reaches a different conclusion. She says, you know what? I work for this major corporation. I'm going to go to HR and I'm going to see, do they offer any sort of, I don't know, tuition assistance, some type of reimbursement program? Do they do anything where they help their workers get more education? And therefore, we know that means higher earning potential. So turns out it worked out for Suzy. Now Suzy is going to class. Okay, she's going to class from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Monday through Thursday. She is still working full time at McDonald's, and she's only bringing in about $440 per week. Whereas Sally, she immediately earns more. She is making $1,000 per week. She has the flexibility and the be your own boss, and she is really working it, okay? Now, something that I want to point out, okay, I know a lot of people are having this conversation. I don't think that people who choose to do gig work full time are lazy. In fact, they're anything but lazy. But there is a certain mentality that goes with only wanting to do gig work. And I'm not sure if it's, fear of taking tests. Is it fear of debt from school? But there are so many education, scholarships, and programs if you have never gotten a bachelor's, your undergraduate degree. And if your state has a lottery, chances are there is a lottery funded program. If you are not eligible for that lottery funded state tuition assistance program, it's a scholarship, then there are a lot of undergraduate scholarships available. And I know this because I used to work in that space. I was an online SAT, ACT tutor, and part of what we offered as a service was helping students get that funding for undergraduate degrees. And not all students were traditional students. Some were older. They weren't in that, teenage age. Okay. So I'm telling you guys from experience and actually working in this space, you can get scholarships. There's actually a lot more for your undergraduate degree, okay, to pursue your bachelor's. So keep that in mind. If you're like, I don't know, debt, you don't have to go into debt to get your undergraduate degree. So back to this regular schedule program here. So they are not apples to apples anymore. Sally is the clear breadwinner in this scenario. Now, here's the thing. 4 years go by and Sally is still making the same amount. She's satisfied with it. It works for her. Whereas Suzy, she now graduates. She immediately gets hired and she is coming in making $60K per year. And this is 100% doable. And I know firsthand, okay? So Suzy is making $60K a year right off top. She has a 9 to 5 where she's working 40 hours a week. And after taxes and gas, both of them have their net take home pay listed here. And we see that Suzy is now out earning Sally. Not getting into the weeds of health insurance programs. Sometimes your employer will pay the whole thing. Sometimes they have a reasonable plan for you. Sometimes you might choose to just be on your spouse's health plan, okay? There's a lot of nuances here, but I wanted to use some simple numbers. After you pay Uncle Sam and after you deduct your gas, you got to get to and fro, Suzy and Sally are both earning about the same amount. And Suzy, if she's working from home, which we love over here on this channel, she doesn't even have that gas expense per month. So you can see over time, Suzy is the clear breadwinner. And this doesn't even factor in benefits such as paid time off. If Sally wants to earn money, she has to work, whereas Suzy can be off for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, however long the PTO program is at her company, and she is still earning a salary. So if I had to just say, what my take is, again, ultimately you want to have a W-2 and then you can add on to that W-2 with gig work, and you don't have to choose between the two. You can do both. But if you have to do one thing, I would never do just gig work and land there and stay there because your earning potential is severely diminished. And we haven't even gotten into the fact that Suzy has opportunity to earn more money while working the same 40 hours a week, okay? I have received promotions within months of working somewhere. I have received multiple promotions within 6 months, within a year. So she might be making 60 grand right now, but within a 6-month period, 1 year period, she might get bumped up to $65,000 or $70,000 per year, working the same 40 hours a week, whereas Sally is still making the same amount. So as you can see, over time, Suzy is going to out earn Sally, okay, by leaps and bounds. That is why I would never in a million years tell someone to quit their 9 to 5 to pursue gig work full time, because you're hustling backwards.